Okay, so last week PMDG dropped new updates across their entire fleet of 777s, so that's the 200ER, the Freighter, and also the 777-300ER, which most importantly included a Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 version, which is what we're looking at today. And I know a lot of you have been hanging on for this release before purchasing one of the other variants, as this is a free upgrade for all you guys who own the 2020 version, which is fantastic. And I should point out, at present, this is only available for those who've purchased direct from PMDG. I know they are working on the marketplace version, but as yet we don't have a firm date for that release, so anyone on console will just need to hang on for a little bit longer. But if you do have the 2020 version, head over to the new PMDG Ops Centre 3, and the 777-300ER will be waiting there for you, ready to download, along with any liveries we had in 2020. Right, so for today then, we are back at Inibuild's Heathrow version 2, and I'm going to get the plane out to runway 27 right, and we will fly a circuit just so we can see how the plane performs in the new simulator. So I will catch up with you again on the runway. Okay, here we are on runway 27 right. We are all set and ready to go. Let's have a quick check overhead. It's all looking good, and we'll just set our squawk to 2000. Scroll that round, so 2000 set, and TCAS to TARA. Okay, so thrust levers to about 50%, and we'll just let the engine spool a touch, downward nozzle pressure, and toga. See, I think those GE90s actually sound pretty good, but I know they have completely redesigned the sound package for all the 777s, which is due for release pretty soon, I believe. So really looking forward to how they've improved that as well. V1. Rotate, and V2. Positive rate of climb, gear up. So I'm just going to continue to fly on the runway heading, and then we'll get the plane into heading select and start turning in left to fly our circuit. So autopilot engaged. And we'll just carry on our course at 269 for a little bit longer. Just as we pass across the reservoirs. So let's start turning our heading bug in now, and we'll start off at about 200 degrees, and then we will hit heading select. So there we go, the plane's just starting to turn in left now. Everything's working as it should be so far, pretty good. Now let's have a quick hop outside and do a bit of sightseeing. Looking pretty majestic as Heathrow drops away behind us. Look at that. It is my favourite plane in this simulator. No two ways about it. Fantastic. Okay, so I'll keep the heading bug turning in left to about 180 degrees. So we turn onto our downwind leg. Now let's also check a couple of my custom wing views. Still getting a few glitches on my engine animations. Down to DLSS though, I believe. The same on the other side. I can live with that. That does look great. Okay, so heading bug round to about 090 degrees, and that should get us nicely onto our downwind leg. So let's take a closer look at the nav display then. You can see our little dotted line is running pretty much parallel with runway 27 right. So that's looking good for our downwind leg, and I'll go flaps up. Just being a little bit careful we don't overspeed. I think we're going to be alright. That's fine. So that is the plane all cleaned up then. We've reached our target altitude of 6,000 feet for our departure, and that was pretty flawless, to be fair. So let's have a hop outside and take a look at this downwind leg then. So you can just see above the engine there, that's Heathrow, so we're running parallel with that, and we'll just continue on this course for another couple of miles before turning onto our base leg. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. Let's add some data for our arrival back onto runway 27 right. So we'll hit the init page and then we'll select our flaps and VREF speed. So we'll go flaps 30 and 148 knots, and just drop that in bottom right, and we get confirmation of that on the bottom left of our primary flight display. And we also need to now add our minimums for our approach. So let's check the charts. We're at ILS 27 right, so if we scroll down to the bottom we can see we've got a rad out of 102 feet. So let's add that in on the radio, and you'll just have to talk amongst yourselves. As I've said many times before, this is one of the most fiddly things you can do. You just get the correct dial, there we go. I'll just wind that all the way down to 102 feet. A little bit more, that's 130 and 120 any minute now. And there we go. Ooh, 101. There we go, 102. So that is our barrow set, or our rad out set for our minimums. And let's now reduce our altitude down to 3,000 feet, so we're ready to intercept our centre fix. And we'll also reduce our speed down to about 220 knots. And let's hit the flitch button. And there we go, the plane has started to descend down to 3,000. And if we take a closer look at the nav display, we can just see our centre fix there about to disappear off the bottom of the screen. So let's wind our range back a bit. And we can just see I've got the Lambourne 1 X-ray arrival set, but we're gonna skip that. We're gonna do a direct to. So we will select our centre fix for 27 right, bring that to the top, and you can see that's just drawn a little dashed line in. If I just zoom in again, wind that back in again, you can see the little dashed line, and we're going to intercept our centre fix around about that nice 30-degree angle. So we'll execute that. So that's confirmed that, and we now need to hit LNAV. So the plane starts following the LNAV path, and there we go, we're turning in left onto our base leg now. The plane's also descending down quite nicely, so we're easily going to make our 3,000 feet by Charlie Foxtrot 27. So let's have a little look around, shall we? Let's just get our tablet out of the way for a second. We can have a look at London coming into view. I've picked a pretty good day to fly circuits at Heathrow, to be honest. Absolutely perfect conditions. Those GE90s spool up nicely to keep us on profile. Right. So you can just see out the flight deck window we're about to pass over the Thames, so we might have a little bit of a lull here. In fact, let's just quickly run through a few checklists. So our descent checklist then, recall checked, notes checked, auto brake is set 3, landing data VREF minimums we've done, and our approach briefing is complete. So that's our descent checklist complete, and our approach checklist, altimeters are checked, and we'll look at our landing checklist shortly. First of all, we're going to get our approach mode armed there, and that's all looking good. So our localizer is captured, so we will go flaps 1, and we will also bug our flap 1 speed. If you have a look at the PFD, just get that little magenta box around the flap 1 symbol. So it's about 208 knots. And we can also see we've now captured our glide slope, and we can see that with the magenta diamonds on both the localizer and the glide slope. So we're looking in pretty good shape. So we will go flaps 5, and again we'll bug that flap 5 speed. So wind the speed dial down to about 100. We're going to be 188 knots. There we go. And let's also arm our speed brake at this point. You can see now the workload is starting to ramp up now. The 777 is quite a hands-on plane, and it can be quite slippery too, so just need to keep on top of it. and we will go flaps 15. And I'm just struggling a little bit to keep the speed down at this point, so let's go gear down, because that's a great way to reduce our energy. So gear down, and that's looking a little bit better. You can just look at this speed tape on the left. We don't want to be going into the red, otherwise we're going to get the overspeed warning. So yeah, it is a slippery plane, as I mentioned, and don't be scared to use the speed brake as well if you need to. Okay, so we've got visual on our runway in front of us now. So I'm pretty happy with how we're looking. So we'll go to our next stage of flaps and go flaps 20. And let's have a little hop out to our wing view. Check out our flaps moving into position. Very cool. Okay, let's go flaps 25 then, and we will bug our speed down to our approach ref of 148 knots.
1,000.
And that is 1,000 feet to go. And we'll go to our final stage of flaps 30. So landing checklist then, speed brake is armed, landing gear is down, flaps 30. And that is our landing checklist complete. Okay, autopilot off, and my controls. Check. 2 whites, 2 reds on the pappies.
300. 200. Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Continue.
50. 30.
Look into the end.
20. 10.
And flare. And touchdown. Reverse thrust green. Decel. Auto brakes on. Just trying to keep it nice and straight with the rudders. And manual braking, and we're still carrying a little bit too much speed to vacate here, so we will vacate next left, and we'll go flaps up, and vacate next left, and welcome back to London Heathrow, guys. And that is how we fly a circuit. And for my first look at the 777-300 in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, I am really happy with how that went, to be fair. No major performance issues, all the systems seem to work as they should, or certainly as they did in 2020, so yeah, really pleased to have this in the new simulator now. And what I'm going to do is just taxi back to the stand that we started on, which was 340. So I will wrap it up there for today, guys. That concludes my first look at the PMDG 777-300ER in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. If you've been waiting for this update to drop, then I thoroughly recommend you get on the Operations Centre 3, get it downloaded and have a bit of a play. It is a fantastic aircraft. But that's it for today. If you did enjoy the video, give it a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.